Baseball equals another day in paradise. Let's go! Hello, folks. Welcome to Jimmy Howard's YouTube channel, the second channel, ladies and gentlemen, where I cover the Philadelphia Flyers, 76ers, and the Philadelphia Phillies because those are my favorite teams in Philadelphia sports. So I'm covering them here on the second channel. And I also have a main channel, which is number one. So make sure you go subscribe on this channel and that channel. Appreciate it, and leave a like on this video if you haven't already, as we are going to be starting this video, which today I will be talking about the top 5 Phillies greatest players of all time in franchise history. We'll be talking about that. So while I'll be going through it is having honorable mention, because we always got an honorable mention. Someone doesn't make the list. Got to give appreciation where it's due. Got to give it to where it is. Then going from 5 to 1. And I will be going through achievements, going through what they did as a ball club, their tenure with this team, and what my favorite memory of them is. So I'll be going through it of each. So that was the criteria I looked at in my top 5 list. Let's start off with honorable mention first. Honorable mention. There were many guys I kept going through this list, more recent players, in my opinion, that can make this honorable mention list. But this came down to a player who I've always, when I think of a Phillies player, this is one of the guys that comes right to my mind. That is Jimmy Rollins, J-Roll nickname. One of the greatest Phillies players, did not make this top 5 list, but deserves to be mentioned here. Played for the Philadelphia Phillies from 2000 to 2014. From 2000 to 2014, just an amazing career. Best shortstop with the Phillies all time, I will say that. He's a 3-time All-Star, 1-time World Series champion. Thank you. 2008 World Series. Thank you, Jimmy Rollins. 1-time NL MVP, won in 2007. 4-time Gold Glove Award. 1-time Silver Slugger. 1-time NL Stolen Base Leader. And 1-time Roberto Clemente Award. His stats, folks. Played 2,090 games. 8,628 at-bats. Scored 1,325 times. Had 2,306 hits. Had 216 home runs. 753 walks. 453 stolen bases. 267 batting average. 327 OBP on base percentage. .751 OPS. He's the all-time leader in at-bats and hits, second in games played and stolen bases, third in time scored. Now, Jimmy Rollins, just one of the nicest guys you ever see with this Phillies team. Just never gave up, loved his competitiveness, and he was a Philadelphia at heart. Just played like a Philadelphia Philly. He was so amazing. I mean, the way him and this player we're mentioning something soon, where he would just make those double plays, those diving stops, the hitting, he just made contact, the speed is what got me there. He could hit it in the gap and get a triple. He just had a lot of speed, folks, and he's just one of my favorite Phillies players of all time. Just love the way this guy played, every bit of it, and he was one of the best hitters in the Phillies. As you can clearly see, all-time leader in hits. Just amazing player. Hopefully he gets in the Hall of Fame. He's not currently in, but hopefully he gets in soon. But I got Jimmy Rollins here as my honorable mention. I have Chase Utley, the man. Chase Utley played second base for the Philadelphia Phillies from 2003 to 2015. Relatively similar careers to Jimmy Rollins. However, I put Chase Utley over Jimmy Rollins because of the stats, and I'll get that to a minute here. Chase Utley played in 1,551 games, 5,748 at-bats, scored 949 times, had 1,623 hits, 233 home runs, 916 RBIs, 625 walks, 142 stolen bases, 282 batting average, .366 OBP, .481 slugging percentage, .847 OPS. He's a 6-time All-Star, ladies and gentlemen. 1-time World Series, like I mentioned, with Jimmy Rollins, 2008. Thank you. 4-time Slugger Award. Chase Utley, he would not back down. He was a fighter. 2 things always stick out to me. His inside the park home runs, which was rare. I remember the one against the Giants where he hits it off Citizens Bank Park, off like the top, almost a home run. His speed is magnificent. The way he would just get around, like I mentioned, Jimmy Rollins, they had incredible speed there. Chase Utley's power, I mean, he is one of the best swings in baseball of all time, in my opinion. The way he would get ready and have it soaked, and boom. One of my favorite Phillies. I love his speech at the World Series when we won it all. That was fantastic. I mean, that represents Philadelphia sports fans, really, of what Chase Elliott was saying there. Just an amazing person. I also remember him making the hero play, making the clean outs at home plate in Game 5 of the World Series in 2008. And his defense, as I just mentioned right there, was incredible. It just was. I mean, he never won a Golden Glove Award, but him and Rollins were one of the best second baseman shortstop duos all time. The double play was just perfection. Every time, it's just like a uniqueness of art. Just watching it, it's just a great artwork piece. Had to put Chase Utley here. Just amazing player. Him, I believe, will get in the Hall of Fame very soon, ladies and gentlemen. He will get in the Hall of Fame very soon. Number 4, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is in the MLB Hall of Fame. That is Richie Ashburn, nicknamed Flash, Whiz Kid. Played Philadelphia Phillies from 1948 to 1959. Played center field. That was his primary position. He's a 2-time NL batting champion, 4-time All-Star, 1-time NL stolen bases leader. He's retired with the Phillies, made the Phillies Wall of Fame, made the Hall of Fame, as I just mentioned before. His statistics, folks: played in 1,794 games, 7,122 at-bats, scored 1,114 times, has over 2,217 hits, has 499 RBIs, 22 home runs, 199 stolen bases, 311 batting average, 388 slugging, 394 OBP, .782 OPS. He's third all-time in games in at-bat. When I always think of Richie Ashburn, I always think of the Whiz Kids. Just watching highlights of him and just reading articles and stories about him, just a unique Phillies player. Very unique. His speed is what set him apart from other players. Now, clearly, the home runs, you can tell from there, weren't that much, but back then, players weren't hitting that many home runs as we are today, compared to MLB with the capacity of the outfield walls, how big the field is. Because back in the day, the field would be so big that you could rarely hit the home run. It'd just be in play. And you see that with Richie Ashburn's hits. It's just a lot of them. That's why he has so many. It's just amazing to see that. So you see so many hits. That's why it's happened, because of MLB stadiums affected the capacity of the outfield wall. That's the difference there. But Richie Ashburn, the Whiz Kid, one of the great leaders, and just set the example for the Phillies franchise. And when Richie Ashburn retired, he was the color analyst for Harry Kalas with the Phillies, and great Phillies player all around. Rest in peace. He passed away many, many years ago, but one great Philly. Just one of the great Phillies players of all time. His swing, his speed, his timing, all-round player, great. At number 3, ladies and gentlemen, I have is Robin Roberts, starting pitcher for the Phillies from 1948 to 1961. His statistics, folks, and then I'll get into his achievements. Has 234 wins, 199 losses, had a 3.46 ERA, had over 1,871 strikeouts in 472 games, had a 1.17 WHIP, .256 average batting average he was allowing, pitched 3,739.1 innings, had 24 saves, 272 complete games. He's a 7-time All-Star, 4-time MLB wins leader, 2-time MLB strikeout leader, has his number retired, number 36 with the Phillies, made the Hall of Fame in the MLB, made the Phillies Wall of Fame. He's the all-time leader in the Phillies franchise in innings pitched, fewest innings pitched, most games pitched, second in wins and strikeouts. Another quick Whiz Kid, like I mentioned with Richie Ashburn, great pitcher, just great all round. He was consistent, just all different kinds of pitches Roberts could throw at and get the job done. One of the most dominant pitchers in MLB history. He did a great job with the Whiz Kid, like I mentioned with Richie Ashburn. It's a shame that the Phillies Whiz Kids never won a World Series, but they came very close so many times. And Robin Roberts, the thing that really sticks out to me is the 234 wins. That's what really sticks out to me of how dominant he was and how many complete games he had. 272 complete games. That is rare. You don't see that today, especially in MLB today, where most starting pitchers like Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler for the Phillies are throwing maybe 6-7 innings. Back then, Robin Roberts would be throwing it like the whole game. They would not stop. That's how it was from 1900s to 1950s, more specifically. They would be throwing the whole game. They would not stop. Even with their arm being so hurt, they keep throwing and would not stop. So that's the thing that sticks out to me of Robin Roberts is his wins and the complete games he has, and he's a Whiz Kid. So just amazing career of Robin Roberts. Great pitcher. Rest in peace also. Just amazing pitcher. Number 2, that is another pitcher who I think is the best pitcher in the Phillies franchise. Now, I mentioned Robin Roberts, but I think this guy signifies the Phillies pitching all around. That is Steve Carlton, nicknamed the Lefty. Starting pitcher from the Phillies from 1972 through 1986. He's a one-time World Series champion. 1980, ladies and gentlemen, 1980. He has 4 NL Cy Young Awards. 4. That's amazing. 7-time All-Star. 1-time Gold Glove. Has 241 wins, 161 losses, had an ERA of 3.09, had 3,031 strikeouts in 499 appearances, pitched 3,697.1 innings, had a 1.21 WHIP, allowed a 235 batting average, pretty good when you're facing those batters, had also 185 complete games, like I mentioned, Rob Roberts, more complete games back then, but still amazing to see that with Steve Carlton. All-time leader in wins and strikeouts as a Phillies pitcher, and he's second in innings pitched. Fun fact about Steve Carlton. Steve Carlton is the first pitcher of a last-place team to finish last in the division to win the Cy Young Award. That is insane. Where do we see that? We don't see it ever. We have not seen it in a while. It's just been a long time, and it's just rare. You don't see like a Cy Young pitcher, which a team finishes dead last, the guy still wins it. You just don't see it. Just amazing to see that. And he got a lot of MVP votes. Unfortunately, he did not win the MVP. He also made the Phillies Wall of Fame, retired his number there, got inducted to the MLB Hall of Fame. Now, Steve Carlton, when I think of him, I think of the 1980 World Series right off the bats. But the thing that finds me interesting, though, with Steve Carlton is how the Phillies got him in a trade, and that was a fleece trade by the Phillies because Steve Carlton was pitching for the Cardinals prior to the Phillies. They kept having a lot of contract issues. The Cardinals owner at the time was not willing to give the amount of money, was not willing to give the right amount of money. And the Cardinals owner was not willing to give Steve Carlton all the money that he wanted. He wasn't. So they disputed and they both were on the right sides, and Steve Carlton went out. Phillies make the trade. Boom. One of the greatest moves for the Phillies franchise is that trade right there. It's one of the best fleece trades in MLB history, in my opinion. And Steve Carlton, just amazing. He would face some of the great hitters in the game, and he would still fight it out and get the job done. And he was a lefty. The fact that he is a lefty, because most pitchers are right-handed pitchers, like myself way back in the day, with throw righty. But you rarely see the lefties. It's like a rare breed. You rarely see the lefties do so well today. You rarely see it. So congrats to Steve Carlton. I give him second on my list here. Congrats to Steve Carlton. And coming at number 1, ladies and gentlemen, I think we all know who it is. That is Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt played third baseman for the Phillies from 1972 to 1989. His achievements, folks. 1-time World Series champion, 1980, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned with Steve Carlton, 1980. 12-time All-Star. That just shows you how consistent, how great he is as a player. And 3 NL MVPs. Not 1, not 2, but 3 NL MVPs. Had 3 Gold Gloves, as I mentioned before. Played in 2,404 games. Had 8,352 at-bats. Had 2,234 hits. Scored 1,506 times. Had 545 home runs. Had 1,595 RBIs. Had 1,507 walks. Had over 174 stolen bases. Had a 267 batting average, 380 OBP, has .527 slugging percentage. He's a Hall of Famer. Let us remind you that. He made it to MLB Hall of Fame. He's the all-time leader in Phillies franchise in runs, RBIs, walks, home runs, second in walks, second in hits. As I mentioned, Jimmy Rollins is the leader for hits. Third in slugging, fifth in OPS. He was the World Series MVP, as I mentioned, him being a World Series champion. Won the World Series MVP in 1980 for the Phillies. What I remember Mike Schmidt of his highlight, one of what I watched of highlights, was his World Series, of how he won the World Series MVP. He hit 2 home runs in that World Series, driving in 7 runs. Drove in 7 runs. That's crazy. Usually a guy might hit like 3 or 4. 7, that's insane a bit. That's a bit insane. But with Mike Schmidt, his power hitting and his defense always come to my mind. because of how great he could just hit the ball and make contact with his power and swing. That's the thing that really sticks out to me, Mike Schmidt. He is one of the best power swing hitters in MLB history, and his defense. Now, most people who are great at hitting, a lot of great hitters, mostly focus on that and don't care about defense. Well, he was a great defensive player by winning 3 Golden Gloves. Just amazing player. I would argue is the greatest third baseman in baseball history. In my opinion, he's the greatest third baseman of all time in MLB history. So, Mike Schmidt, just a legend, household name. So Mike Schmidt is the best Phillies player of all time, in my opinion. But that's my list, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. Leave it in the comments. Who do you think should have been mentioned? Who should have been higher? Who should have been ranked lower? Who is the best player in Phillies franchise history? Let me know in the comments, folks. Let me know. Before I head out, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, not only on this channel, but also my main channel. Would appreciate more of getting it done, folks. Would appreciate it. So, until next time, have a great day. Go Phillies.